Hello, English learners. Welcome back to the English Leap podcast, your cozy place to learn easy English through real podcasts about life. I am really happy you are here with me today. Take one slow breath before we begin. Today we are talking about something quiet but powerful. We are talking about learning to love yourself in a realistic way. Not the perfect version you see online, but the everyday version that feels human. Maybe this week you were hard on yourself. Maybe you made a small mistake and replayed it many times. Maybe you compared your life to someone else's highlight moment. And maybe you felt like you are not enough. That feeling is more common than you think. Many people struggle with the relationship they have with themselves. They speak kindly to others, but harshly to their own mind. And over time, this creates emotional pressure. Self-love begins with awareness. It starts by noticing how you talk to yourself daily. Your inner voice shapes your confidence more than any external opinion. And the brain listens carefully to repeated words. If you repeat negative sentences often, the brain accepts them as truth. Thoughts repeated many times slowly become beliefs. Beliefs influence behavior in quiet ways. And behavior shapes your life experience. This is why language matters deeply. Instead of saying, "I always fail," you can say, "I am still learning." Instead of saying, "I am weak," you can say, "I am growing." Small shifts in language create emotional balance. Self-compassion is an important part of this process. Self-compassion means treating yourself like someone you care about. When a friend makes a mistake, you respond with understanding. You do not attack their character for one bad moment. But when you make a mistake, you may become very critical. That harsh inner critic can damage your confidence slowly. Research shows self-compassion increases resilience during stress. Kindness toward yourself supports emotional strength. Boundaries are another form of self-respect. A boundary is a personal limit that protects your energy. When you say yes to everything, you often ignore your own needs. Ignoring your needs creates quiet resentment inside. Resentment is silent anger that grows over time. It appears when you abandon yourself to please others. Loving yourself means sometimes saying no calmly. It means choosing peace over constant approval. This may feel uncomfortable at first, but discomfort is often a sign of growth. Changing your standards changes your confidence. And confidence built on self-respect feels stable. Many people think self-love is selfish behavior. But selfishness ignores others completely. Self-love simply includes yourself in the care you give. You are allowed to matter too. Another important truth is accepting imperfection. You do not need to become perfect before you deserve love. Growth and worth are not connected conditions. You are worthy while you improve. Perfectionism creates constant pressure. It sets standards that are impossible to reach. When standards are unrealistic, you feel constant failure. Letting go of perfection reduces emotional exhaustion. Self-love also includes caring for your body. Sleep strongly affects mood and emotional stability. Lack of rest increases negative thinking patterns. Balanced nutrition supports steady energy levels. Movement reduces stress hormones in the body. Even gentle walking improves mental clarity. A regulated body supports a regulated mind, and regulation makes emotional balance easier. Forgiveness is another important element. Many people replay past mistakes repeatedly. They carry shame long after the lesson is learned. But growth means you are no longer the same person. You made decisions with the awareness you had then. Now you know more, and that means you evolved. Holding permanent shame blocks emotional healing. Forgiveness transforms mistakes into wisdom. Wisdom is the positive result of experience. Experience builds resilience over time. Resilience allows you to recover from difficulty. And recovery strengthens inner confidence. Self-awareness helps you understand what drains your energy. Some conversations exhaust you emotionally. Some environments increase anxiety or tension. Paying attention allows better decisions. When you protect your energy, you protect your peace. Peace creates space for clarity. Clarity supports better emotional choices, and better choices strengthen self-trust. Self-trust grows through small, consistent actions. Keeping small promises builds confidence slowly. Confidence built slowly feels more stable. Stable confidence supports long-term growth. Loving yourself is not a final destination. It is daily maintenance of your emotional life. It is correcting your inner critic gently. It is resting without guilt when needed. It is choosing boundaries without anger. It is forgiving your past with understanding. It is speaking to yourself with balance. And it is allowing yourself to be human. Over time, something changes quietly. You stop fighting yourself internally. You stop abandoning your own needs. And you slowly become your own safe place. Loving yourself also means understanding your emotional patterns. Every person has reactions shaped by past experiences. Some reactions feel automatic and difficult to control. Awareness helps you slow those reactions gently. When you pause before reacting, you create space. Space allows better choices instead of emotional impulses. Better choices reduce regret later. Less regret supports inner peace. Inner peace is not constant happiness. It is stability during emotional movement. You still feel sadness and frustration, but you are not controlled by them. Self-love includes emotional regulation skills. Regulation means calming your nervous system intentionally. Slow breathing can reduce stress quickly. Gentle movement can release stored tension. When your body feels safer, your thoughts become softer. Soft thoughts reduce harsh self-judgment. Reduced judgment supports self-acceptance. Acceptance makes growth easier. Another important element is realistic expectations. Unrealistic expectations create constant disappointment. Disappointment repeated often becomes self-doubt. Self-doubt weakens confidence slowly. Setting realistic goals protects motivation. Small goals feel achievable and clear. Clear goals reduce overwhelm. Reduced overwhelm increases consistency. Consistency builds self-trust quietly. Self-trust means believing your own commitments. When you keep small promises, you feel stronger. Strength grows from reliability. Reliability toward yourself is powerful. It changes how you see your identity. Identity influences behavior automatically. Behavior repeated becomes habit. Habits shape long-term self-perception. If you practice kindness daily, kindness feels natural. If you practice criticism daily, criticism feels normal. Normal behaviors feel true to the brain. The brain adapts to repeated emotional experiences. This process is called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity means the brain can change. Change happens through repetition and awareness. When you repeat balanced thoughts, new pathways form. These pathways support healthier reactions. Healthier reactions reduce internal conflict. Less conflict improves mental clarity. Clarity helps you understand your real needs. Sometimes you need rest instead of productivity. Sometimes you need silence instead of social activity. Listening to these needs builds self-respect. Self-respect strengthens boundaries naturally. You no longer need to explain every decision. You choose based on alignment, not approval. Approval becomes less important over time. Comparing yourself to others weakens self-love. Comparison ignores personal context and timing. Every life has a different pace. Respecting your pace reduces pressure. Pressure often creates anxiety and overthinking. Overthinking drains emotional energy. Energy depletion increases irritability. Irritability damages relationships with yourself and others. Protecting your energy is a form of maturity. You learn when to engage and when to withdraw. Withdrawal can be healthy when intentional. Intentional rest supports recovery. Recovery strengthens resilience gradually. Resilience is the ability to return after difficulty. It does not mean never feeling pain. It means not staying broken permanently. Self-love also includes celebrating small progress. Progress may look invisible at first. Small improvements matter deeply. Recognition reinforces positive behavior. When you acknowledge effort, motivation increases naturally. Motivation built on progress feels stable. Stable motivation supports discipline. Discipline protects long-term growth. Growth is rarely dramatic or loud. It happens in small daily decisions. Small decisions shape character quietly. Character defines how you experience life. As this practice continues, your inner dialogue softens. You react with patience instead of shame. You reflect instead of attacking yourself. Reflection creates learning instead of guilt. Guilt without growth is emotional punishment. Growth with compassion is emotional maturity. Maturity builds calm confidence slowly. Calm confidence feels grounded and realistic. Over time, you notice subtle changes. You recover faster after mistakes. You speak to yourself with more balance. You feel safer inside your own mind. And when you feel safe inside, the world feels slightly less threatening. You move through challenges with more stability. and self-love becomes a natural foundation. As self-love becomes more consistent, your decisions begin to change naturally. You no longer choose what proves your worth to others. You begin choosing what protects your well-being quietly. This shift feels small, but it is powerful. You start noticing how certain environments affect you deeply. Some spaces increase anxiety without clear reason. Some conversations leave you emotionally drained. Awareness allows you to adjust slowly. Adjustment is not rejection of others. It is alignment with yourself. Alignment reduces inner conflict significantly. Less conflict creates emotional stability. Emotional stability helps you respond calmly to criticism. Not every opinion needs to enter your identity. You can listen without absorbing everything. This protects your sense of self. Self-love also changes how you experience failure. Failure becomes feedback instead of identity. Feedback provides information for improvement. Identity remains separate from mistakes. When identity stays stable, confidence feels grounded. Grounded confidence does not need comparison. Comparison loses power over your emotions. Emotions become less reactive. You begin noticing your strengths more clearly, not in a dramatic or exaggerated way, but in a balanced and realistic way. Realistic confidence feels sustainable. Sustainable confidence supports healthier relationships. You no longer seek constant validation. You appreciate connection without dependency. Dependency slowly transforms into interdependence. Interdependence means mutual support without losing yourself. You can care for others without abandoning your needs. Balance replaces sacrifice as a standard. This balance reduces emotional resentment. Resentment disappears when boundaries are respected. Respect begins with how you treat yourself. If you disrespect your limits, others will follow. Protecting limits teaches others how to treat you. Self-love also changes your internal expectations. You stop demanding perfection from every effort. Effort becomes valuable even without flawless results. Value shifts from outcome to growth. Growth-oriented thinking reduces fear of mistakes. Fear decreases when mistakes are normalized. Normalized mistakes feel manageable. Manageable experiences build courage slowly. Courage is not loud or dramatic. It appears in small daily actions. It appears when you try again quietly. It appears when you forgive yourself quickly. Forgiveness shortens emotional suffering. Long suffering often comes from self-judgment. Reducing judgment reduces mental tension. Less tension improves overall well-being. Your nervous system responds to this change. When self-criticism decreases, stress hormones decrease. Lower stress supports clearer thinking. Clear thinking supports healthier choices. Healthier choices reinforce self-trust gradually. Self-trust strengthens your internal foundation. A strong foundation stabilizes emotional reactions. Stable reactions support long-term peace. Peace does not remove life challenges. It changes how you experience them. Challenges feel less threatening internally. Threat perception reduces significantly. Reduced threat perception allows calm problem solving. Calm problem solving increases effectiveness. Effectiveness builds confidence organically. Organic confidence feels authentic and grounded. Authenticity grows when you stop pretending. You accept both strengths and limitations honestly. Honest self-evaluation replaces harsh criticism. Balanced evaluation promotes real growth. You also begin noticing your emotional triggers clearly. Triggers reveal areas that need healing. Healing requires patience and self-understanding. Understanding softens emotional reactions. Soft reactions prevent unnecessary conflict. Conflict reduction improves relationships. Improved relationships reinforce emotional safety. Safety strengthens self-love continuously. As this pattern continues over time, your inner world becomes more stable. Stability supports clarity and direction. Direction reduces confusion and comparison. Comparison fades as self-acceptance increases. Acceptance allows personal growth at your own pace. Your pace becomes respected and valued. Respect reinforces your inner sense of worth. Worth stops depending on achievements. It becomes an internal understanding, an understanding that you matter inherently, not because of performance, but because of existence. This realization is quiet but transformative. It changes how you move through daily life. You speak with more calm confidence. You rest without guilt or shame. Over time, loving yourself feels less like effort. It becomes a natural response, a response built through repetition and awareness, a response that supports emotional freedom. And emotional freedom allows you to live more fully. As emotional freedom grows, your daily life feels lighter. You no longer carry constant inner pressure everywhere. Pressure once felt normal and familiar. Now, calm begins to feel more natural. You notice how often you used to criticize yourself automatically. Those patterns once felt like motivation, but they were actually fear in disguise. Fear rarely creates lasting growth. Growth created by fear feels fragile. Growth created by understanding feels stable. Stable growth builds long-term confidence. Long-term confidence supports emotional security. Security inside yourself changes your reactions externally. You no longer panic over small misunderstandings. You respond instead of reacting immediately. Response requires awareness and patience. Patience increases when you trust your worth. When worth feels secure, urgency decreases. Urgency often comes from insecurity. Insecurity seeks constant proof. Self-love reduces the need for proof. You stop chasing approval aggressively. You value connection without depending on validation. Validation becomes a bonus, not a necessity. This shift changes your relationships quietly. You communicate more clearly about your needs. You listen without losing your own perspective. Mutual respect becomes the foundation. Respect begins internally before it appears externally. If you respect your emotions, others sense it. If you ignore your emotions, confusion increases. Clarity inside creates clarity outside. You also begin trusting your intuition more deeply. Intuition develops through self-awareness. Self-awareness grows through honest reflection. Reflection becomes easier without self-judgment. Judgment blocks learning from experience. Compassion allows lessons to be absorbed calmly. Calm absorption strengthens emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence improves decision-making. Better decisions reinforce self-trust gradually. Self-trust creates a stable internal anchor. An anchor prevents emotional drifting. Drifting once caused anxiety and doubt. Anxiety decreases when your inner dialogue softens. Soft dialogue supports balanced thinking. Balanced thinking reduces extreme conclusions. Extreme conclusions once fueled insecurity. Now, insecurity begins losing its intensity. You recognize thoughts without believing all of them. Recognition creates distance from negativity. Distance allows rational evaluation. Rational evaluation strengthens self-control. Self-control reduces impulsive reactions. Impulsive reactions often damage self-respect. Protecting self-respect becomes a priority. You understand that self-love is not indulgence. It is disciplined emotional care. Care requires consistency and intention. Intention shapes daily behavior quietly. Daily behavior shapes identity over time. Identity becomes aligned with kindness. Kindness toward yourself feels less awkward. It becomes part of who you are becoming. You also begin releasing unrealistic comparisons. Every person carries invisible struggles. Social media rarely shows the full story. Understanding this reduces unnecessary pressure. Pressure once pushed you toward exhaustion. Exhaustion blurred your clarity and focus. Now balance becomes more important than speed. Sustainable pace replaces constant urgency. You learn that resting is not weakness. Rest restores mental and emotional energy. Energy allows thoughtful action. Thoughtful action improves long-term outcomes. Outcomes matter less than alignment now. Alignment means acting according to your values. Values define what truly matters to you. Living by values strengthens authenticity. Authenticity creates inner harmony. Harmony reduces emotional conflict significantly. Reduced conflict increases mental space. Mental space encourages creative thinking. Creative thinking supports personal growth. Growth feels steady instead of chaotic. Chaos once dominated your inner dialogue. Now, calm becomes more frequent. Calm does not remove challenges completely. It changes your relationship with them. Challenges become manageable instead of overwhelming. Manageable challenges build resilience gradually. Resilience grows through repeated recovery. Recovery proves your inner strength. Strength no longer depends on perfection. It depends on persistence and compassion. Over time, loving yourself feels less like effort. It becomes a natural orientation toward yourself. A quiet commitment to care and respect. A steady foundation beneath every experience. And that foundation continues to grow stronger. Over time, you begin to notice something subtle inside you. The voice that once attacked you now speaks more gently. You still have difficult days and emotional moments, but you no longer abandon yourself during them. Loving yourself does not remove pain from life. It changes how you walk through that pain. You stop asking, "Why am I like this?" You begin asking, "What do I need right now?" That small question changes everything quietly. Needs become clearer and easier to respect. Respect builds inner safety gradually, and safety allows your mind to relax. When the mind relaxes, clarity increases naturally. You make decisions with less fear. You speak with more calm confidence. You forgive yourself more quickly. Self-love becomes less about emotion and more about practice. It becomes daily honesty and balanced thinking. It becomes boundaries without anger and rest without guilt. It becomes growth without shame. And slowly, you realize something important. You are no longer fighting yourself inside. You are standing on your own side. And that changes the way you experience life completely.